So the rain falls off the roof outside, it splatters, but it'll never splatter on the wood. So no matter how much the rain falls, the wood and the doors never get hit. Probably the single most creative scientific part is the ondol. Literally, it translates as hot stone heating system. No other culture in the world has applied a heat retention and slowly releasing system to the entire floor. This has been going on well over 2,000 years. This is Pare Kingdom, so it was sometime 698 to 982 AD remains of floor system. They have found these going back to about 150 BC.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome Mr. Peter Bartholomew.
강의를 준비 중인 사람은 피터 바돌로뮤입니다. 그는 현재 사라지고 있는 한국의 전통 한옥 문화를 세계에 널리 알리고 보존하기 위해 강의에 참석했습니다.
So I would like you to welcome Mr. Bartholomew with a warm round of applause.
First of all, it's a great honor to be asked to speak in front of this organization and the very high intelligent crowd that I see in front of me. The main purpose of this lecture is not limited only to Hanok. It's limited to the whole broad spectrum of Korean architecture. One of the major aspects of traditional culture in Korea is how little known it is worldwide. Indeed, one of the tragedies, in addition to architecture, is the extent to which the understanding of Korean traditional culture has faded from knowledge and indeed the souls of Koreans themselves. This is probably more poignant in the architecture than any other single section. Indeed, while you are living here in Korea and you look around, there's almost nothing left, is there? When you go to Europe, everywhere you walk, everywhere you drive, ride in a car, you see the history, you see the architecture, and it speaks to you, doesn't it? Of that period, of that era, of its function, a fortress, a house, a castle, schloss, whatever. In Korea, there's no reminder. We have the impression that there really isn't anything here. Maybe there never was. There are only these tiny little morsels of palace here or some temples there.
전통 문화 건축물이 조금밖에 남지 않았다며 의문의 그림을 꺼내든 바돌로뮤. 그러더니 풍수지리에 대한 이야기를 시작했는데요.
The building is here, and you have a cosmic force from the mountain above it. There has to be water flowing in front for purity. You have the Dragon Hill on the right, the White Tiger Hill on the left, all these cosmic forces. Surveys of the land, the watershed, the climate. I'm sorry, I've only done this lecture in Korean. This is like the third time I've done it in English. We're having a little trouble here.
눈을 꼭 감고 영어를 떠올려 보지만 오래전 한국에 푹 빠진 그는 그만 모국어인 영어를 살짝 잊고 말았습니다. 다시 정신을 가다듬고 강의를 이어갑니다.
Just briefly, here's a typical Korean building. This is really a Hanok scale. So what have we got? We have clay insulation in the floor and in the roof. We have a floor that is heated totally wall to wall by a fire that heats stones. The roof is designed such that the eaves send the rain outside of the granite platform on which it's built. And that's the important part as well. All of the Korean traditional buildings are built on a platform to lift it off the ground, get more air through it, get it away from the moisture of the soil below it. And of course, very important, you have to allow for the firebox, fireplace if you will, and this whole heating system. This entire area here, the foundation, is one big furnace. The whole damn thing is a furnace, which is quite remarkable. So the rain falls off the roof outside, and what happens then? It splatters, but it'll never splatter on the wood. So no matter how much the rain falls, the wood and the doors never get hit.
그러더니 갑자기 덩실거리기 시작했습니다. 천화의 훌륭함을 설명하다 말고 신이 난 모양인데요. 정신 차린 그는 조금 뒤 다시 설명할 거라며 얼른 다음 장으로 넘겼습니다.
Sunlight. The length and angle of the eaves is such that in summer It's cool, i.e. it's sharp angle down, so very little sun comes in, and in the winter, maximum sun comes in. Most importantly, and nobody believes it until you go to a traditional house when it's pouring rain with a heavy wind, and you'll be shocked. Rain never hits the walls of the house. It's amazing. Where rain might hit it, they would put a stone wall, but that would only be outside. In this front area where you have a courtyard, the wind rushes by, and the structure is built knowing what the climate is, the volume of rain and wind, so that it creates a suction, actually, in this area as it rushes by. No rain ever hits these doors. No wind ever hits the doors. I was sitting in my Hanok here in Seoul about 4 years ago, and a typhoon came offshore Incheon. And I was really scared, so I rushed home in my car because it was blowing like mad, and I sat right here in this place with my feet outside on the steps and sitting just inside. And I watched as signboards were flying by and parts of trees are flying by. It's terrible. Don't give me too much trouble. I smoke. And so I lit a cigarette, and the smoke just went straight up. And outside it's a typhoon, my God. And that was absolute proof. Worse yet, the smoke went up and went out because of the suction that I just described. So that to me was proof positive of this particular science.
시계를 확인하더니 더욱 마음이 급해졌습니다. 하지만 포기할 수 없었던지 하던 이야기를 모두 마치고서야 다음 이야기로 넘어갔습니다.
Probably the single most creative scientific part is the ondol. Literally, it translates as hot stone heating system. No other culture in the world has applied a heat retention and slowly releasing system to the entire floor. There are several cultures. People say, the baths of Caracalla in Rome. Right. In the bathhouse. And only in the bathhouse. And most of them are not in the floor, they're in the walls. There are some, they put some heat under it, but it wasn't a daily for every single room in the house except only the one parquet floor room. Just to show you really quickly, this is the surface of the floor, which is covered actually by a very thick paper which is lacquered or oiled. Under that is a layer of clay. Under that are very thick, very broad stones. Under that are these flues, which are shaped like this. There are maybe 5 or 6 of these flues, and this is where you light the fire. The fire comes in and heats this huge mass of stone and clay. But look how it's designed. First it comes in and it's very broad because the fire is the hottest here, and that's to make sure that there's, and even a double stone, so that it's not too hot. The purpose being to have even heat, not hot in one place and cold in the other. And it works. They've had about 2,500 years to develop it, and they've got it down right now. And so it goes up at a different speed. If you look here, you have the fire coming, and it vectors and drops soot, vectors again, and again is slowed down to allow the heat to go, and then crunches up to speed it up, and then out the flue. If you climb up on the roof and feel the smoke, it's cold smoke. Virtually 100% of all the heat is absorbed into the floor. If you light 5 small pieces of wood, maybe this big around, it holds the heat with no additional fire. You just fire it once a day for 25-30 hours. So it's an incredibly efficient form of heating.
아궁이의 효율성에 대한 부분이 나오자 더욱 적극적으로 설명했는데요. 그리고 몇 번을 더 강조하더니 모양도 중요하다며 이어 말했습니다.
Just really quick, it's well developed for different architecture. So you have the fireplace here, and it depends where you can put the fireplace, where you can put the chimney. So they developed all these sophisticated flow patterns to permit different architectural changes because of the building's placements. 왜 그러지? 나 손대지도 않는데. Right. Here are two friends of mine, it's probably about 120 years ago, just before I came to Korea, building an ondol in a small room. So I think they're sitting where the chimney is, and these are the horizontal flues, and this is the capping stone. So the fire comes in, heats all this mass, which is clay and just round stones, heats this, and then there's more clay on top of it, and goes out the chimney. And it's all this mass that absorbs the heat. In a monumental building, like a palace, this central portion here is wooden floor, and these are heated floor. But the fire goes through the entire building very deep, with incredible absorption of heat, huge mass. Sometimes there are 2 or even 3 fireplaces to heat the major palace thing. I mean, the worst thing is a cold king. You know, this is especially in an absolute monarchy, off with his head, you know, that great stuff, yeah. This has been going on well over 2,000 years. This is just one example that I found for this lecture. This is Pare Kingdom, so it was sometime 698 to 982 AD, remains of floor system. They have found these going back to about 150 BC in different forms. Aesthetics in design in traditional architecture. Everyone talks about balance and harmony, and it's true, but it's in different forms. There's balance and harmony between each of the buildings. Let me just stop here. When you talk about monumental architecture, like a palace, a Buddhist temple, a monastery complex, maybe a provincial administrative center, aristocratic home, in Europe, you would have traditional architecture, a big monumental building, the north wing, the south wing, first floor, second floor, third floor. In China and Korea, and to some extent in Japan, it doesn't work that way. For each function, there's one big building, which is in a courtyard, low buildings surround it, which is where, let's say, they have the libraries maybe, and people storing paper, records and the like, and then the central building. You want to go to another administrative part of that compound, you go out of the building, through the gate, over to another compound with another courtyard. So it's a totally different aspect in palaces and administrative centers. So there should be balance and harmony among each of the buildings in the palace, in the compound, in the aristocratic home, and definitely with the surrounding nature. Woven into the design is fine art and artisan works, philosophy, literature, poetry, calligraphy. Just a minute. Is that distorted? Yeah, it is. Darn it. Ah, breaks my heart. Oh. There's something wrong with the system. It's just hideous. I don't know why. There's something wrong with it. I can't really. Yeah, it's all squeezed in.
It's too short.
아니 뭔가 잘못됐어요 컴퓨터. 아니 지금 고칠 수 없어. 고칠 시간에 문제 있어. 그러니까 이거. I'm sorry, I can't really. I'll tell you what it is, but you can't see it and you can't feel it from these photographs because there's something wrong with the computer that squeezed it from left to right and destroys all the beauty.
지붕이 곡선으로 되어 있어 부드러움과 섬세한 아름다움이 공존한다 말합니다. 그리곤 일본의 건축물로 넘어가 일본인들이 한국의 건축물과 그대로 똑같이 만든 것에 대한 설명으로 이어졌습니다.
The Japanese took this idea from the Koreans. Thank you. Don't forget that Japan's traditional culture, the vast majority of it came from Korea to Japan. So it, just like in Europe, it went from one to the next country. So it was from China to Korea, Koreanized, Korea to Japan, and of course Japanized. When the Japanese took it, they had a predilection to codify everything. This angle compared with that should be 3 to 2 to 1.5. And everything followed that stricture. But the design is very different.
일본이 한국의 건축 방식을 똑같이 사용했지만 모양이 어떻게 다른지 정확히 찝어냈습니다.
Here are two gentlemen. This is a late Chosun dynasty photograph, very well known. And they're playing chess. This is a heated floor room with a beautiful screen, paintings, high form of art. This is a piece of ceramic with flowers in it, sitting on a flower stand that is just the right height in comparison with the vase, in comparison with the plant. The doors are development of a Chinese character. The Chinese character has a meaning and is usually related with the philosophy that the owner wants for the building, the environment he wants for his family to live in and understand. So everything is tied together, from the name of the building to the design on the door, to the philosophy on the placards. Everything is woven together. Here's another really fine example. This is a heated floor room. This is the wooden floor room. And you have these beautiful paintings. The sliding doors slide behind them. Here's another good example. So we have sliding doors with lattice work and painting on each side. And this is the acha design of door. This is an extremely sophisticated aristocratic estate built in 1816 on the east coast of Gangwon province. This is in a pleasure pavilion. And these are the sliding doors which have kipulhicha, happiness and peacefulness, whatever you like. And on these doors are panels of what are called the Four Gentlemen of Nature. Meran, Kukchup, Mehwa, shit. What's Mehwa? Sorry? Plum, thank you. This is bad. I've been here 47 years. It's getting to me. Yes. So we have plum, orchid, bamboo, and chrysanthemum in different forms with magnificent brushwork. Each of them are signed, and there's a little poetic word on them. You can't see it in this painting, but at the bottom, no, I don't have it. At the bottom of each of them is a little poem. And around the room, there are 6 of these in this room, and each poem is different and tells a story from one poem to the next. So you have fine art, you have the myth of the Four Gentlemen of Nature, you have the architecture involved with it, poetry, and literature. This is pure literature on other doors in this same building, 1816. Chonha Wi Gong, it's in the same one. Under heaven, everybody can come and go in this beautiful building, is what it's saying. And this was made by a very famous man for this building when he was visiting. And that's very often happens, that the owner has guests who are very educated, sophisticated, maybe talented with calligraphy, and they talk and develop a theme, and the man takes that theme and puts it in calligraphy and gives it as a gift to the owner, who puts it on his walls.
마치 그 자리에 있었던 것처럼 자랑스럽게 말하는 바돌로뮤.
This is Seoul, 1890s, indeed 1910. So here's Gyeongbok Palace. For those of you who drive to your embassies and offices or schools every day, here's Gwanghwamun Gate with this beautiful wall and 2 towers, and this was called the haknalge, the crane wings. The head's here at the top, and these are the tips of his wing. Here's the main audience hall, and in front of all the government offices. So it was all Hanok until the city government started it, and this says we are now having a demolition of this for redevelopment and building apartments. So that was the Hanok I just showed you with the flowers. Going, gone, finished.
아름답던 한옥이 사라진 모습을 보자 관중들은 탄식을 내뱉었습니다. 바돌로뮤는 관중들에게 충격을 주더니 갑자기 자신이 가져온 자료를 뒤적이기 시작했습니다.
But there's hope for the future. There is a growing awareness. The city government has made a fund for supporting people who have Hanok. The general public awareness has risen. People want to live in a Hanok now. My God, what's going on? And they're doing it nicely and doing it well. The taste factor is still a problem, but it is improving, and new government policies are pushing it. Thank you very much.
한옥이 다시 살아나고 있다며 밝은 표정을 짓는 바돌로뮤. 한옥 지킴이로 유명한 그는 오래전부터 한국에 정착해 마지막까지 한옥을 알리는데 힘썼습니다. 그렇기에 그에게 있어 한국의 변화는 더욱 뜻깊었는데요. 미국인이었던 그는 1968년 평화봉사단으로 한국에 온 이후 무려 40년이 넘는 기간을 한국에서 살았습니다. 앞의 영상에서 보신 것처럼 모국어인 영어를 깜빡하기도 하고 문득 한국어가 튀어나올 만큼 한국에 깊숙이 빠져들었는데요. 특히 한국의 건축에 큰 관심을 보이며 한국인보다 더 한국을 사랑한 외국인으로 기억되고 있습니다. 피터 바돌로뮤 교수님, 한국을 사랑해주셔서 정말 감사합니다.
Can we say thank you very much?
마지막까지 한국과 함께하며 한국을 사랑한 그의 마음은 영원히 남을 것입니다. 오늘 강의는 여기까지입니다. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다.